So, our next speaker is Louise Macaulay Crothers. She is the CEO of Exit Entry, which uses science and data to create equal opportunities for everyone. From selling jeans in the black market out of her school bag in Soviet Russia at 15 years old to CEO of Exit Entry, the Irish tech startup, revolutionizing opportunities for students globally, Louise Macaulay Crothers will not rest until her global mission is complete, creating opportunities for everyone. So sometimes it takes an outsider looking in to see things from a new perspective. Louise is that person with a 20-year background in design and project management. Join her at the Youth STEM Summit, which is happening right now, where she tells us how one young girl struggled and one young girl's struggle inspired her to take action. So just learn how you can impact the world by using passion to achieve change.
I'm
All right,
so
thank
pleased to
you.
be here today. You might guess from my accent, I'm based in Ireland. So I live in Dublin. Exit Entry is a, as you said, it's an educational technology company that started in 2019 out of Ireland, but we've got global ambition. Um, Basically, how it started was I was incredibly frustrated by the fact that students were constantly being assessed by their academic ability, and realized that quite quickly there were other elements that actually measured somebody's capabilities, and that's where their skills and interests. And how Exit Entry started was over 20 years ago. I was doing some charity work and I came across a young girl, and her story is not unique. But we were on a water sports holiday where we brought children from lower socioeconomic groups out for rehabilitation. So these were children from really, really poor backgrounds. And she was on this trip for 2 weeks, and she arrived with a toothbrush and a plastic bag and nothing else. And she washed and showered and did activities in those same clothes for 2 weeks. Um, and it really frustrated me at the fact that she had such incredible abilities, but was from such a deprived background that she couldn't access opportunities. And then at the tender age of 40, I returned to education myself and realized quite quickly the access to opportunities hadn't changed in 20 years. And what I mean by that is that it was still the exact same system to be able to access opportunities. It was the same people going to the same career fairs. And I often thought about Jade, and I thought to myself, how is she accessing those opportunities? So in a world of numbers, if I had a slide in front of me, it would have these numbers, which I'm going to go through with you now. And the first number that I always look at is 20. And 20 is kind of the years of experience that I have in design and project management. But yet I'm the CEO of a technology company. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is I had no experience in technology when I set up this company. But what I did have was a drive and a passion to succeed and change this problem globally for students to be able to access opportunities. Um, one child, and that's the number one child, and her story, and me meeting her really made me passionate about making this change. So I truly believe that although you may not necessarily have the inherent skill sets to achieve something, once you have that skill and passion, anything is possible. As I said, I was 40 when I returned to college. All right, so if you have the competitive advantage as a young audience, you are way more creative than somebody who is twice your age. Okay, so you just need to go for it. How I did that was thousands and thousands of emails and messages and reaching out to people. So I would say, do not be afraid of asking for help, okay? Because you cannot achieve this on your own. I knew I couldn't achieve it on my own, but what I was passionate about was about, really, really solving this problem. The other thing, which was another number that would have been on that slide, was 100. I had hundreds of cups of coffees with people. They were driven insane by me getting in contact with them. But ultimately, those hundreds of cups of coffees led to 3 very important cups of coffees, which led to me building out the senior team within Exit Entry. And what I'd say to you is sometimes all it takes is an email and a cup of coffee to make that difference and share your story. Do not be afraid of it, okay? And then finally, I would say the number one for me is always, 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 never, ever, ever lose sight of your vision, okay? Because this is the single most important thing that will help you make the first step in life to be able to make a change to people's lives. Um, I guess the solution that we built was a technology platform. We have an app that's free to download on the App Store. And the reason it's free is that we don't want any barrier to entry for students. So that's available on Google Play and iOS, and any student in Ireland at the moment, but hopefully outside Ireland as we scale, can access those opportunities by taking two small assessments built within the app. We have a guidance counselor dashboard as well, and we also have a third level app. So they're the three products that make up our platform. I believe, and I truly believe this, that we are living in a society where, and I know they say Gen Z, but pretty much that's, teenagers have the capability to change the world that we live in. I see this. I'm a mother of three boys. Okay. So I see how passionate they are about change and everything from climate action to education to, just making the world a better place. Never has it been a better time for you to make that difference. Okay. How do you make that difference? So I want to talk to you about a key thing that I call, and lots of friends of mine in the startup world call, big, hairy, audacious goals. So what is a big, hairy, audacious goal? It's a bold, differentiable, which is hard to pronounce, that is perceived as impossible, okay, to the outside world. So if I was to count the amount of times that I have met people and said to me, Louise, your goals are too big, you'll never achieve that, I'd be a very rich person now. So what I want you to say to you is never, ever, ever be afraid to think, I can't do this. You absolutely can do it. I also want to share with you as well, when times are tough for me, and people will laugh at me when I say this, but when times are tough with me, I say to myself, how am I going to get through today? How am I going to achieve this? And I always think of one of my massive heroes, which is Nelson Mandela. And I think of the years he spent imprisoned, and how he would have felt in that cell thinking, I want to change the world, but how am I going to do that? If somebody like that can be that resilient and come out into the world and make a huge difference, we can as individuals. Do not wait for somebody else to do it, okay? We have a responsibility to the world to create change. And I really believe that your generation are the people that can achieve that. So when I talk about big, hairy, audacious goals, I think about what the future looks like to you, okay? So if you have an idea, how do you perceive that future looking within 7 to 10 years? That is your big, hairy, audacious goal. It's your imagined future. What world do you want to live in? What world do you want your family to live in, your children to live in, your friends to live in, okay? It's that imagined future. So what is a big, hairy, audacious goal? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what that might be. So if we look at somebody like Tesla, okay, their audacious goal is how to accelerate the world and transition into a sustainable energy. Uber, that we all use, what an incredible service, okay? Transportation as reliable as running water, how you can get from everywhere for everyone. Google, how to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Stripe, an amazing Irish company, okay? Two guys who basically started building Stripe. It's a payments system at the ages of 16 and 17. Come on, what a story. Massive global company now, just two regular guys. So that's about what they do is they increase the GDP of the internet. And then I'm going to very cheekily put Exit Entry in there. What's our big audacious goal? Our big audacious goal is about creating equal opportunities for all so that everybody in this world can lead a happy and successful life from any background. And we use science and data to do that. And we offer it for free to students. So what does that look like? You're saying, Louise, I have an idea. Where do I get started? And if I had those slides in front of me now, I would be showing you an image of Everest, okay? And when we look at Everest or we look at a mountain, we think, oh my God, how am I going to get to the top? And you imagine what it feels like to be at the top, but you need to break that down into simple goals. So if you think about create a base camp for yourself, and between base camp and the summit, create maybe 10 stops along the way as to how you can get there. So where does your base camp start with? It starts with grounding yourself in the fundamental idea that you have and building out the capabilities, because you can't do this on your own, about working with great people. Tell the world about your idea. The biggest mistake a startup makes is thinking, oh, I have this great idea. Everybody's going to copy it. You know, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. You will get nowhere. Okay. You will get nowhere if you don't tell everybody about it. People were sick of me talking about exit entry, but that's okay because I just thought the more people that know about it, the better. And then I was able to build out, as I said, a great team to be able to support me on that. You can do that too. Okay. So, strategy. What is strategy? Strategy is about the themes and capabilities or core competencies that will get you to the summit. So, you need to break it down when you think about what you want to achieve. Create that image at the top of your head. Oh, sorry, the image at the top of the summit, I should say, about what your ultimate vision is. But you know, break it down into bite-sized pieces how to get there. So, you know, in an average day, if at the beginning of startup life or an idea and how you want to create that, you think, oh, this will maybe be plain sailing. You know, I'm on a bicycle, I'm cycling towards a finishing line, it's on a straight road. Oh my God, that is not the case. Okay. So you need to accept that it will be challenging, but my God, it will be fulfilling. It will be fulfilling, not just from personal fulfillment, but all the things you get to learn along the way and all the amazing people you get to meet on this journey. But ultimately, it's about creating change, as I said, and leaning into that purpose in terms of what your purpose is. Because I can guarantee you, it is the purpose and the vision that will keep you going when you have tough days. So I would say, I would absolutely say to that. The other thing I'd like to say to you as well, when we think of visionary companies, so there's lots of companies out there, you know, and there's the big companies and the small companies, but ultimately, when they're successful, people think, oh my God, they were so strategic in what they did. You know, they, you know, did everything right. They had all these capabilities, all these wonderful things. Most companies will tell you their greatest success stories have happened by accident. Okay, and how that accident happens is that they're not afraid to fail. They will iterate really, really quickly. They'll try something, and if it doesn't work, they'll go, okay, it doesn't work. You know, I've tried that, and let's move on. If it does work, that's absolutely amazing. And most of those visionary company success stories have come from the fact that they have just tried things and those things have worked. But for everything that's worked, there could be 20 things that have failed. I know there's an amazing company called Supercell. I'm just giving you this as an example because my kids play lots of video games, and I also love Supercell. I've been in their office in San Francisco. They're a really cool company. They've got an amazing culture as well. They try everything. They let their teams run ideas, like game, you know, for every game, let's say Clash of Clans, there could have been 20 games that before that failed, but that's okay, because to get to Clash of Clans, they probably had to go through about 10 or 20 different ideas in terms of what that should be. So what I'm saying to you is, failure is not a bad thing. And I'm sure you know this because you're probably listening to lots of people talking about it and doing lots of research on it as well. But what I would say, I know it can be hard when things go wrong to pick yourself back up again. But ultimately, that's what you need to do. That is ultimately what you need to do. And there again, if I have my lovely slides in front of you, I always do a presentation that has animals in it because I'm a huge animal lover and I love dogs and cats. And my image would have a cat on the back of a dog, because what I would say to you is help comes from really unusual places. And never to be afraid to ask for help. I have anybody that I have said, can you help me to? I have never got a no, because I'm shameful in my approach in asking for help. Also, what I'd say to you as well is never let somebody's title, never feel intimidated by, approaching somebody that you think you might be afraid to approach because they're in a senior capacity within an organization or within a university or, you know, anything like that. Everybody wants to help, especially when they know about something that you're passionate about. And finally, what I'd say to you is, as a company, Exit Entry, our vision is about creating equal opportunities for all, and we represent the students' voice. So everything that we do is centered around students. And last year, actually over the last year, we ran a survey around students' mental health. And if I had my video in front of you, I'd be able to show you a beautiful video that we made on the back of the survey outcomes that we got. It kind of blew my mind because, to be quite honest with you, I was really upset reading some of the comments around students and what they have been going through. So these would have been students between the ages of 13 and 19 during lockdown. And I know throughout the world, different countries have been going through different aspects of COVID with lockdown. But the one thing that I am absolutely sure about that, it has hugely impacted your generation. And we need to be mindful of the fact that we're looking after each other and looking out for each other. And the fact that I, as a parent, as the CEO of an educational technology company that represents youths, I'm there to support you. And I just, as part of this journey, in terms of everything that you do, what I'd like you to do as well is be mindful of yourselves and be mindful of your own mental health. Because in order for us to succeed, we have to be well in ourselves. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm sorry I don't have my presentation, but I just have to do. And I can send it to anybody who'd like it as well in terms of a copy. But I think that's it for me. I'm so pleased to be here today at the Youth Summit. I have to say, as we're approaching the end of this year, 2021, I couldn't think of a better way to end it. I don't know how many sleeps we are till Santa, but I'm very much looking forward to that as well. I'm putting my feet up. But yeah, as I said, I think youth have a competitive advantage in terms of the fact that you have the capacity to change the world. And thank you for your time today. Thank you for listening to me. More than happy for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. We also are quite have a channel on TikTok, so that's exit.entry. Please follow us if you'd like. We're always interested in hearing people's opinions. I have an amazing influencer there, Francesca, who does short TikToks around representing a student's voice. So yeah, thank you today. I'm happy to take any questions as well if there's any. That's it.
Thank you. Yep, if there's any questions in the chat, I will definitely let you know. And please share your slides as well. I really apologize for not being able to show everyone. I'm sure they're amazing. And we'll definitely get that shared on our entrepreneurship stream link. So you can just have a link of everything that we should have covered and just share those with people here. Thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. And your whole story is just so inspiring. Even like I am so inspired just hearing you talk. So thank you.
Thanks to everyone. Take care. See you. Bye-bye, Yara.